I'm Brian Van, sportbiketrackgear.com, and today we're going to do an install of the M4 GP 3/4 exhaust system on our 2015 Yamaha YZF-R1 STG project bike. Installing this, right, it's going to include the canister that you see here. It has a noise insert in that. When we run the bike, we'll do it with and without insert, as well as the muffler box eliminator. Both pieces, titanium. Right, beautiful welds, great quality. When you eliminate the muffler box, you improve performance, you lose a ton of weight. Installing these two pieces results in a weight loss on this motorcycle of, I believe it was 14.1 pounds. That's very significant. Of course, the power gains because now you've lost the restriction with that muffler box. M4 system comes with phenomenal instructions. Fully illustrated, right? Disclaimers, product warranty, the whole schmear is right there for you. Use that along with this video to help you with the install. Another thing you'll run into when doing this is your stock exhaust servo and cables. Here's the servo motor and the cables. They attach right down here, okay, at the muffler box. This is used for noise control. Basically, at the end of the day, really no need for that, especially if you're going to modify the bike, modify the emission system by pulling the muffler box off. Because remember, in some states, you might want to check your regulations and restrictions because this does alter the emission system. Okay, it's not going to be a road legal modification. When you take this off, you're going to get a check engine light. Nobody wants to ride around with that because then you don't know if you actually have another problem with the motorcycle. We've got a full video that shows you how to remove this and how to install this. This is the exhaust servo buddy from ScooterNet. You plug this little baby in, the light goes off, right, and you are good to go. You'll find this in the R1 category on our website with the exhaust, no problem. Got race bodywork on this bike. No, I'm not riding around with the stock muffler box and the race bodywork. We just put it back together for illustration purposes and to show how to do the install. When we come back, I'll have the race lower off. If you still have stock fairings on your bike, which you very well may, we have a full video. We just run you through this a few times, taking the lowers off. It's really easy on this bike. Look to that video. It'll help you disassemble the fairings if you need some help there. Okay, we're gonna start by removing the stock canister, right? We've got a 5mm Allen bolt here on that stock clamp. Just loosen that up a bit. You don't have to take it off. We've got the mount. Put all the hardware you take off to the side. You'll reuse some of it. The rest of it you'll be able to put into your spares box. Get the stock canister off. And now we're down to the muffler box itself. The muffler box includes 3 mounting points. 2 can be accessed from the brake side of the motorcycle. 1 from the clutch side. We also have an oxygen sensor on both sides and then a clamp that attaches the inlet for the muffler box to the outlet of the titanium header. The thing I'm going to start with is the oxygen sensor. There's 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show you my way. First school of thought is unplug the O2 sensor by disassembling everything, okay? So you can loosen it up and twist it out without twisting the wires at all. That's one way to do it. The way I do it is I will loosen the sensor here, and then as I'm twisting the sensor, I also twist the wires so as not to be putting a lot of strain on the end of the wires here at the O2 sensor. This is something that I've done many, many times, right, in the past, working on cars and trucks in my past life, and it's really never created an issue for me. This motorcycle has had it done to it about 15 times now, and they're still intact. So you decide what's best for you. Either way, the oxygen sensor needs to come off both sides. I'm going to go ahead and loosen the clamp. You don't need to take the clamps off. Just loosen them up like so. We'll go ahead and address our 2 mounts. Pretty common tools we're using here. I think this is stuff most riders are going to have in their Kit of tools, no worries. Keep all the hardware to the side. Some gets reused. Pull your brake lever down. Should get you access to this one here. With the installation of this system, you will be able to remove this exhaust mount right here. So we're going to go ahead and unbolt that from the frame of the motorcycle. No reason to leave that there. Okay, now onto the brake side. I'm going to go ahead and remove this wire loom here. Loosen up my sensor here. Same procedure as the other side. Like I said, definitely that's probably not the service manual approved method. So you do what you feel comfortable with. Got our clamp right here. And on this side, the actual mount here is part of the kickstand pivot as well as the shifter pivot. So we can't take this mount off, right? We will loosen the bolt so we can get the muffler box off, but the mount itself is not able to be removed from the bike, and it will not be reused with our M4 system install. Okay, there's a little bit of weight to this, so kind of support it. Push a little bit from the front, wiggle it around, keep some rearward pressure on it. As you wiggle, and off it comes. This is really responsible for the majority of the weight in the exhaust system. Keep all the stock parts because you never know what might happen. You might need to put them back on, say for an emissions test, something like that. Okay, the M4 Catbox Eliminator comes with a plug for this aftermarket oxygen sensor bung. I'm not going to be using that. I did a flash tune on this, right? I've got that clutchless downshifter deal, so I'm just going to be using the stock O2s. They supply a plug for this, so we're going to go ahead and plug that up. They also send along some anti-seize. I've already put it on because we showed this in another video, so put a little anti-seize on this, run it in here. You've got dissimilar metals, and you don't want them to corrode down the road. You never know what might come up. Maybe you do want to switch to a Visage unit, you know, or an auto tune. Go ahead and put that in. Snug it up like so. We also want to put a little coating of anti-seize on the inside of the inlets of these pipes. It allows the system to go together easier, and then if you ever need to take it apart, it's going to come apart much easier. They supply it. What I like to do is put a little bit here on a rag. Really doesn't take much. This is just so you don't get it all over your fingers. With titanium, or with really any exhaust system, you want to make sure that when you're done, before you start the motorcycle, you clean the pipes off. I've seen brake clean used, which is what I usually use, as well as WD-40. I think that works pretty well too. So you want to make sure you do that before you start the bike. If you choose not to, what's going to happen is all those greasy handprints, even from just the oil on your skin that you've left on it, they're all going to burn right into the pipe. And trust me when I tell you, you're not going to like the way that looks. Okay, so we've got that greased up and ready to go. Okay, before you get carried away and slide the pipe on, let's make sure we've got our barrel clamps slid over the header. That's what I like to do with them. I'm going to put them both on here so the fasteners are facing down and out. So slide those over quickly. And now, to install the pipe, what I like to do is I'm going to get this started on the header on the other side, on the clutch side of the bike, and then come over here and just kind of give it a little tweak, a little pressure forward. You can see it jump right on there. Now I'm going to wiggle it in place so I can get it on there as far as you can go. Make sure you've got your clamps now slid onto the pipe so they're not obstructing anything. I can see from the mounting bracket here, everything looks to be good. I'm going to slide this in here right now. What I would suggest you do is slide this in, put this on, just finger tight right now, okay? Very loosely. We don't want to tighten anything up until we get the rest of the system in place. Also, something you might want to consider is putting some red Loctite on that nut to ensure that throughout the life of the bike, that stays tight and doesn't come loose. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and do your O2 sensors. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to wind up the wires so that when I tighten the sensor, they are effectively unwinding so that there is very little stress on the wires when I'm done. You can see that was pretty darn effective right there. Okay, get your wrench out, snug that up. I'm not going to tighten the clamp either. Okay, we're just doing the O2 sensor right now. I'll tighten the clamp when I tighten all the hardware. We're going to go over to the other side and tighten up that O2. Okay, same deal over here. Wind the wires in the opposite direction, right? About the same amount that you would to tighten it up. Get the thread started and basically unwind it. Go ahead and snug that up. You can see there's really no pressure at all left on that harness, which is what you want for an end result. Okay. Now we're ready to slip the canister on. Just like we did for that mid-pipe, I'm going to go ahead and put just a thin layer inside this. Don't really want to overdo it. We don't want it really oozing out of here. Right? Especially not in this connection, it's kind of downhill here. So just a very, very thin layer. You can see I wiped off a lot of what I put on there. This is going to attach to the stock mounting point. I've got driven TT rear sets on this motorcycle right now, and they work just right with it. We're going to go ahead and use one of the nuts they supplied with the same mounting bolt that I was using previously. Go ahead and put the mounting bolt in and through, like so. Okay, now everything is held in place to the point where I feel comfortable tightening the system down. So we'll begin with our center mount here. Going to get a backup wrench on that. Like I said earlier too, Loctite would be a really good idea here. The only reason I'm not doing it is this motorcycle is going to come apart again, okay? You may not be putting a new exhaust on your motorcycle every other week. For these barrel clamps, what I want to do is put them so they are almost at the end. Let's say 1/8 of an inch away from the end of the mid-pipe. And then torque them down. You don't need to tighten these so much that they change the shape of the pipe. Just good, even pressure, like that. Go over, tighten the other side, then we'll come back and tighten our mount here in the back of the bike. Yep. All right, same spacing with that clamp. Nice even torque. Okay, now we'll finish up here with our mount in the back. That's another great spot for Loctite, okay? Just once again, understand this bike's coming back apart again because we have a couple more systems to install. Key. I know you're revved up, you want to hear what it sounds like. I want to hear what it sounds like too, but remember, you've got to clean it all off before you start it. If you don't, your handprints are going to be all over this thing when it heats up, and you're never going to get them off. They're going to actually be glued right into it. I'm going to use just a little brake cleaner. Like I said, I think I've read that you can also use WD-40. And I'm going to wipe everything off, even the stock header a little bit. It's already got quite a bit of color in it. all the new M4 stuff here, I'd like to really get this an opportunity to blow up nicely on its own. Okay, when we come back, I'm going to have my lower fairing on it. We're going to start the motorcycle. I'll let it warm up a little bit off camera so we can rev it. We'll let you hear it with the stock insert in, and we'll shut it off, pull that insert out, and let you hear the bike totally unrestricted. All right, here we go. Motor's warmed up. We've got the insert in, the quiet insert, and I'd like to also say, if this is too loud for you, they have another level of insert we can get for you to quiet it down even further. This one is the one that is included with the pipe. There is with the insert in. When we come back, we'll have the insert out. You need a big pair of snap ring pliers to pop that bad boy out of there, right? And we'll let you hear what it sounds like unrestricted. All right, here we go. Insert is out. Clearly there's a difference, right? You can hear it is definitely louder without the insert. Talking to the people at M4, performance will improve a bit with the insert out, okay? But not a ton. If you want it a little bit quieter and you're okay giving away just a little bit of performance, go ahead and leave the insert in there. It'll be quieter. If you're a street rider and you're like, that's just way too loud in or out, remember we have a level 2 noise reduction insert available for you. I'm Brian Van, sportbiketrackgear.com.